really the story of this matchup.
Well, we know that both these teams love their mind games, and the map veto is a great way to flex those muscles. Let's have a look at where we'll be heading for the first matchup between these two. Again, fingers crossed for a theme park game. Oh, we're getting so close, but it will be taken off the board. Clubhouse in the end, a map that in recent times has become pretty defender-sided, but I definitely think it opens up for a great match.
Yeah, and look, we talked about experimentation. I would personally love to see some experimentation, despite it being Clubhouse. I would love to see something like a mute band or a Mozzie band, prevent those roams that teams like Fnatic like to go for, and everyone's adopting it nowadays thanks to Space Station anyway. Clubhouse is a very utility-heavy map where you get punished if you don't tick all the checkboxes that you need to. And these two teams are both really good at the utility usage out of doing their due diligence, as we like to say. And Clubhouse is a map where that really gets impacted. I will say it's interesting that Wildcard only banned out Theme Park with their last ban. So both teams were like, we'll just let the other team ban it. And then out of Cafe, Club, and Theme Park, Wildcard thought, no, let's not play Theme Park just yet.
Well, what do you guys at home think? Who's going to win this matchup? Is it Fnatic or Wildcard? Let's bring up the results and see what you all think. I'm expecting it to probably be Fnatic. Not by that much, but yeah, they'll be clear favourites into this one, Dev. Not a whole lot we can read into that. It's probably going to not be as one-sided as the poll suggests. It's, again, popularity.
Yeah. I mean, Wildcard, a reasonably popular team, but Fnatic have been around as an organisation for a lot longer, and they've really earned a lot of fans from their performances overseas, so pressure mounts on them. And I think Wildcard aren't feeling that pressure right now. You know, last season in the Fnatic Wildcard game, Wildcard felt like they should have won both of those maps, and they drew both of them. And that was frustrating for them. But now, on the back of 2 roster changes, if they can beat Fnatic, they'll be chuffed. If they can't, it's just another day at the office.
Well, let's go back to the map. We know it's going to be Clubhouse. Fnatic historically quite good at this map. And I think the thing to really think about approaching this map, as you mentioned, is that utility clear. Both these teams do take quite a similar approach in their attacks. But you know what, Dev? Let's finish the talking. Let's jump into it. Fnatic versus Wildcard. Let's see what they can bring to the table. The fiercest rivalry in ANZ will be sparked once again. Fnatic on the attack first, Dev. And I think this ban phase, as you mentioned, could play a pivotal role in how this one plays out.
Good luck, have fun, comes out in the chat. Let's get this game underway. Maverick banned out first up by Wildcard, a very powerful operator and a very common ban here on Clubhouse. Banning that really enables you to use the bandit trick and the Cade as well downstairs. So no real surprise. Capitao, oh my god, are we really just going to get like the most obvious bans for this map? Please no. I mean, Capitao, because there are so many strong anchor positions, Capitao is really good on this map for denying bandit trick, denying positions in blue, in church, in arsenal. So that's banned out to allow a bit more freedom to the anchors. Mirror banned out to prevent people from using on the church wall and on cash wall. And come on, this is just going to be an Echo on Maestro and we're going to snore ourselves to sleep, surely. There you go. I'm sad.
Shocking scenes here in the ban phase. Absolutely unprecedented here on Clubhouse. No, just kidding. If this is your first time watching Clubhouse, these are pretty much the staple bans across most competitive matches. And so it will come down to really who can finesse those attacks. We know that Clubhouse edges in favor of the defenders, and I'm tipping these bans will exaggerate that. So it's going to be up to Fnatic to put their best foot forward here, as they are, as I said, attacking first. Try and gain that early momentum and not let Wildcard run around too freely.
The Cade being 6th pick to a Castle. Interesting choice there. Castle is fairly common when playing the basement if you're going for a roam setup, but not often used on this cache. In fact, of all the 3 primary bomb sites, I feel like this is the bomb site I'd least likely see the castle, so I'm going to be keeping a keen eye on where Diesel's putting these castle barricades. There's one on the west window of CCTV. That's 100% going to get cleared by some utility from Fnatic, even if it's just a 12 knife hits, but I don't know, this seems kind of odd. I'm going to keep my eye on Diesel here and see where the rest of these go, because I don't know if this is some super innovative strategy that Wildcard's pulling out, or
10 seconds left
Not.
before insertion.
And is that another castle barricade going on one of the stock doors on the north side? Yep. So just making stock a little bit less accessible to prevent that vertical play. Magnet is on the Buck, Tex is on the Zephyr, both great operators for the vertical play. A lot of presence downstairs. You can see that Wildcard are definitely expecting Fnatic to take control of downstairs, or at least attempt to. They've got Mozzie Pest and castles in abundance.
Definitely have had some wild scenes on this map in recent times. Sinister with their complete bait strat onto the Pittsburgh Knights earlier in the season. Wildcard's defense not looking quite as extravagant as that, but as you mentioned, definitely some interesting decisions made. I definitely think we will see more innovation and more unpredictability from Wildcard with those roster changes, continuing to spice things up. Fnatic going for that wall straight away. Emo Rin, can he hit this bandit trick? No, he can't. He will get away with his life, most importantly. The wall open with... Oh my goodness, so rushing in. I didn't even see that coming. Emo Rin shuts it down as well as Ethan. It's a 2-on-4. The frag's coming out. Site control given to Lusty and Aces though, but the C4 from below will drop him off the board, and Aces now left in a 1-on-3. He only just came back onto this team, and now he's been left in this situation. The plant going down. The denial from Wildcard not quite there, but they should be able to finish him off. And oh my goodness, Aces! It's now a 1-on-2, almost hitting that wallbang as well in towards Garage, aware of the player's presence. Plenty of time to work with here. The 5.56 is a very strong weapon. Wildcard trying to pinch him in this position. Will Aces be able to hit this shot? He lights him up. Emo Rin low, and he gets the kill on the bat. This is winnable now for Aces. If he gets 3 kills this round, he will net Fnatic the win. Emo Rin on a slither of HP. Such a hard round to win. He will need to hit the headshot here onto the Thermite. Aces still with a claymore, a flashbang rather in hand. Emo Rin tries to sneak around the corner. Aces will surely win this gunfight, but he misses the shots. He whiffs just as Emo Rin quick peeks it. The flash does come out. Emo Rin needs to try and dodge it, but he'll get aggressive on it. Aces runs over to the table. A misplay from him will gift Emo Rin the round. My goodness, Dev, what a fantastic way to start this map. That turned up from a 0 to 100 so quickly. We looked away for a second, and Fnatic just flooded the site. Wildcard just getting away with that round.
And if that round is anything to go by, this is going to be a banging game between the two titans of ANZ. Let's check this replay. Aces going for that defuse plant, gets that kill onto Diesel. A 1 versus 3 that he almost made possible with 2 kills. Not to mention this was all on the back of a rush strategy from Fnatic. A huge gamble, but something we've seen them do before. They did it at the 6th Invitational. Can't remember what opponent they were facing. But as soon as we saw the Thatcher, the Thermite, and the Zephyr all ready and waiting outside that main cache wall, you had to be a little bit suspicious. And I think Wildcard really just got a wake-up call that they can't dilly-dally. They can't let Fnatic get away with these cheeky strats, because Fnatic are bringing their A-game here.
Wow, Wade. It doesn't get much closer than that. A game of margins as small as milliseconds, really. Aces only had to hit 1 bullet there in the end onto Emo Rin, just narrowly missed, and the second he turned his sight towards that table to try and reposition, Emo Rin able to capitalize. As you say though, a big wake-up call here for Wildcard. And a big wake-up call for us all, I think. This is going to be a great match. I think heading into this, some people might be skeptical of Wildcard's form, but if it's as close as that, I can't call it at this stage. No way.
A very strong retake from Wildcard. Got to give them the credit as well. They completely lost control of the cache site, but they managed to take out multiple players and whittle it down into a 3 versus 1. If you weren't already strapped in, well, hold on to your horses, because this is going to be a wild ride.
A wild ride for us and a wild ride for these players who are fighting it out to try and get as much of that prize pool as possible. The standing's still critical this season as these teams continue to battle it out. No one giving an inch. The pressure, you can just feel it. The aggression from Fnatic is so strong at the moment. Emo Rin. Potential flank opportunity here. Does look like the cross is being held by Fnatic, so he needs to be careful. Ethan, though, he drops Magnet. A great start for Wildcard in this round.
And it is that heavy roam that we're so typically see these days on Clubhouse, even down to the operator choices. Mozzie, Mute, and Vigil all prevent information gathering from Fnatic, and that's the idea from Wildcard. Now, Fnatic, instead of deciding to go for a rush onto the bomb site, they decided to try and clear these roamers, and so far it's been mixed. They lost that early player of Magnet, but Lusty did find one as Emo tried to over-aggress up through the blue stairs. Now, Ethan's going to try and get back to site. This may well just be an anchor strategy from here on out from Wildcard. That looks like all those 4 players are on the bomb site. Pat's going to try and keep his ERC drone cloak device as active as much of the time as possible to make Fnatic really slow. And you can see Fnatic still not quite sure about this roam clear. Face checking upstairs, re-droning. They need to be very careful. Even though all the Wildcard players are back to site, they're still wasting time.
Each of these players just playing every angle patiently, aware that they could be wide swung at any moment. Tex, he makes his way down the main stairs on that Zofia. Lusty above. We'll try and attempt some hard reach with those X-Kairos onto the hatch, but it gets impact tricked. A nice play there from Wildcard. Flash has come out to try and deny that, and Lusty will reattempt it. This time, right in the corner, might be a little bit more challenging. Ethan, meanwhile, gets his double for the round. A big kill from him onto Tex, who we saw earlier. Gio gets one as well. Lusty and Aces left to try and clutch this one up. Aces pushing in from Dirty. Had a massive round last time, but there's nothing he can do on this occasion, and Wildcard will take 2 rounds straight.
Not bad at all for Wildcard. Quite a textbook SSG roam, if we're going to call it that. Everyone seems to these days. But instead of trying to hold on for dear life, as soon as they realized Fnatic were dedicating 100% to that roam clear, Wildcard got the lead-off kill. Imarin tried to add to that by flanking upstairs using a C4 onto the players that were pushing CCTV. And once that was taken out, once that aggression was suppressed, Wildcard thought, all right, guys, let's get back to site. They got the mute of Ethan and the vigil of Pat back onto the bomb site, and they kept delaying time. Because all that utility, the mute jammers and Mozzie Pest were still upstairs, and they still had the vigil on the basement using his ERC 7 thingo device. I don't know. I'm not calling it a scanner because it's not scanning, right? It's like disruptor. I guess that makes the most sense. Jammer, disruptor. I don't know. Disruptor sounds cool, but it's
Jammer's confusing with mute. Then
I'll use disruptor. He was using his ER7, ERC, whatever. Vigil was doing Vigil things, and it made it really hard for Fnatic to keep droning. And I mean, by the end of it there, right? There was 10 seconds left by the time Fnatic started to drop hatches. No way they're winning that. Great textbook play from Wildcard.
Can Wildcard continue this momentum though? That is the golden question at the moment. Again, Clubhouse. Gonna sound like a broken record. It is defend decided, so Fnatic definitely not out of this contest at all by any stretch. Especially considering how close these rounds are at the moment. I think it's really going to come down to Wildcard trying to get that early pick once again. We saw it cause some issues for Fnatic in the last round, and if they can replicate it here in the third, they should set themselves up nicely.
This Jacuzzi wall going to be heavy point of contention. Fnatic just want to get this out of the way nice and early. Going to drone it real quick, see who's there. They see it's Imarin on the bandit trick, but this bandit trick was countered really effectively on that CCTV side. Flashbang checks there's no ADSs there. Now it's going to be the Zafir lifelines to deny that bandit trick from Emo. He gets on out of there. Ethan and Geo both, but you can see Wildcard, we're expecting this wall to get open eventually because Geo has that shield. Actually, it's a Goyo shield from Pat placed from Logistics facing that Jacuzzi wall. So it's a good progress from Fnatic, but Wildcard are prepared for it.
Time to make a new door.
Critically, Emo Rin was able to retreat to bathroom where he can execute another bandit trick if he so wishes. But his job definitely not done in this round. Neither is the work of Lusty and Aces playing those hard breaches. Mentalist as well if they need him, so it's definitely going to take a combined effort. It looks like Fnatic though are dedicating to the cash side. Just holding angles at the moment, trying to clear out any of those players. Trying to hold off site. The shots rain out there. Kill for Tex in the end. Wildcard trying not to give these early picks away, but unfortunately Diesel does fall.
And a lot of good drone work from Fnatic. Now they know they have this control of cash. They know they have control of construction. Ace has droned that out, and Tex is playing on this balcony. This position is only enabled because Fnatic have that control. Otherwise, the defenders could peek out from that CCTV window. But Wildcard are aware that there's no one playing Jacuzzi right now, so they're going to play aggressively on that thermite breach. If they hear someone running above and dropping down on Jacuzzi, we're likely going to see Ethan just peek aggressively. Tex actually drones that position, so he's aware of that aggression, and Wildcard starts to peel off.
Fnatic trying to choke out their opponent as best as possible. Try and refrain them from being able to rotate around the site. Seems to be working pretty well so far, but not long left on that timer. 30 seconds in the round now remaining. Geo is in a fantastic position here. Could line up one or two of these Fnatic members as they're trying to enter in towards Logi. It's a patient game for both teams. Mentalist, he'll get aggressive though. Geo looks the wrong way at the wrong time. Won't get that kill as Lusty rather is putting pressure from Con. Oof, Geo, they will take him out eventually. Tex gets his double for the round though. Geo, he goes massive and drops that diffuser on the balcony. Critically, there's no time left. Magnet, he's too far away from this diffuser. Wildcard can sit back, relax. There's nothing that Magnet can do, and Wildcard will take 3 straight.
Another really great defense from Wildcard. Not to say Fnatic were any chumps in that round. Really efficient, really good utility usage, but it was just something slightly missing from Fnatic. It seems like they're very much single-minded at the moment, in a single focus at a time. At first, it was very much, let's get this main wall open on Jacuzzi. Okay, that box is ticked. Let's go and take cash control. And they're very effective at doing these things, but Wildcard never hinges their entire strategy on not losing any of these utility battles. A great example is what you highlighted early in the round there with Imarin bandit tricking the Jacuzzi wall. As soon as that was countered, he just pushes back, he plays in the bathroom, and he has another wall to bandit trick. If Fnatic want to heavily push from the Jacuzzi side, they're going to have to thermite that wall. It's not going to be possible because of that bandit right there. Diesel only played as a singular player hard holding cash instead of dedicating multiple wildcard players to that, which meant that eventually when Fnatic did manage to take down that cash control, Wildcard didn't lose more than one player, and they managed to 4-man hold site. So really good stuff so far from Wildcard. They're not dedicating too much to any single doctrine. They're keeping their options open, and that seems to be working against this much more rigid and much less versatile Fnatic than we used to see with their former lineup.
Of course, we are now in the 4th round, unlocking the cache and CCTV site for Wildcard to reattempt. They did win it in the 1st round. Almost threw it away though, the rush coming out from Fnatic. So close in the end, and Emo Ring clutched it up against Aces with only a slither of HP. It's likely that Fnatic won't reattempt that rush on this occasion, despite there being 3 players on this balcony. I'd say it's pretty unlikely. Fnatic now trying to take their time, open up this wall. Emo Rin again is attempting to bandit trick the wall, but Fnatic likely to counter it, and at this stage, it's just a little bit of a time waster for Fnatic to make their lives a little bit more challenging. Emo Rin could potentially hit at that lifeline just in time. He'll vault over in towards Garage, doesn't get picked off critically. And now Wildcard need to prevent any sort of pushing from that wall.
Very similar to what happened last time this bomb site was attacked from Fnatic. Good utility usage, get that main wall open. Difference is this time they didn't rush. Wildcard actually have a lot of players off-site, but in positions that they're very eager to do retake strategies and deny plant from below. That's why Magnet's pushing down towards Bar here, cutting off any wildcard players, getting too aggressive on their own and exposing themselves to the main stairs. Magnet does actually do just that, as Pat gets too aggressive down inside the bar, taken out nice and early. There you go, in the middle of bar. There's actually a Valkyrie camera in bar, what we saw previously, so Wildcard do have information there if Fnatic decide to go there. Ace is actually going to drone that out from construction. But Fnatic, now that they've opened the main wall, they're going to rotate pretty much entirely to go for a construction side push.
Fnatic are rotating, but so is Emo Rin. Still with 3 batteries to use on this con wall. Lusty and Aces will be trying to get it open, but it's going to be so challenging. The nade though from Magnet over the top. This could be big. Emo Rin with fantastic timing. We will get away. That now allows Lusty to get the wall open. A second grenade comes out for safety as Emo Rin Rotates and gets that kill, in fact. Unfortunately, unable to bandit juggle that wall, but it doesn't matter. Wildcard have now rotated. They have this entry pretty well covered, leaving Fnatic with a real hard, tough scenario here. 40 seconds on the board. A lot of these entries, as I mentioned, are being monitored, so they need to push hard here for refrags. Aces gets the first, though. Ethan refrags it. That's critical, but the rush into site is massive here. Magnet manages to get in towards Cash on top of that table, using that skeleton key to full effect, and Mentalist will get one as well. Diesel at the top of these stairs could play a critical role, but he only has the UMP in hand. Ethan alongside to assist, but a wide peek here could spell his demise. They don't wide peek it yet, though, and Ethan gets away, but eventually he will be taken down. Diesel now still at the top of these stairs, desperately tries to deny that plant, but as I said, the UMP, not the greatest gun in this scenario. Diesel pre-fires that first angle, doesn't get the kill, re-peeks it again. He is taken out, and Fnatic take the round.
Looked a bit troublesome there, Fnatic. They did tick all the boxes that they needed to. They opened up that main CCTV wall, they rotated, they got construction control, they even got the opening pick as well onto Pat downstairs. Then they opened up the construction wall by denying that bandit trick using those grenades from Magnet. But even at that point, I was still a little bit concerned. Wildcard had a lot of players on site, and if Fnatic just tried to file in through, they would have gotten taken out. But that's why Fnatic had that key player, who I think it was Aces actually, maybe Mentalist, playing on the CCTV wall on that breach. And I think Wildcard had actually keyed into that, and they thought, okay, we really have to deny this player on the balcony. We need to ensure that that player on the CCTV balcony is dead so that we don't have to worry about that angle and we can completely be concerned with the construction push. And that's why we saw players trying to run out of garage and such, but I think Fnatic were a bit more careful than Wildcard, than suited Wildcard, and managed to find actually 2 picks through those openings. And by that point, Fnatic took control of that site, and it was a very difficult retake for Wildcard.
Definitely starting to get a bit of feel for how this match will play out. Such an even spread for kills across both teams. Diesel, unfortunately for Wildcard, lagging behind a little bit, but again, that's to be expected, of course, playing such a heavy support role for his team. Indeed. If he's left in situations like he was last round, you can't really expect too much. I think as
what
long
we
as
do now have is...
Oh, so, go.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Dev Martin. Ladies first. Go ahead.
Alright. I was going to say, we do have that SSG room again, and presence on top floor, and I was just trying to speculate whether Fnatic would go for the top floor control, or... Yeah, they are, okay? Instead of going for a rush. I thought it would be a pretty Fnatic kind of thing to do, to just go for the big yeet, but no, they decided to play it the same way that they tried it last time. It didn't work last time, despite them getting the opening pick, so I am a bit concerned. Oh, no, they didn't get the opening pick, but they got the refrag on the opening pick.
Lusty Crouch walking through lounge could pose a threat here to Wildcard if they are unaware of his position, but there's no one really nearby. There is a player above, but Magnet, he cleans that one up. That is the Mozzie off the board. It looks like there are still 2 more roamers, though, for Wildcard on the top floor, so really trying to take it up to Fnatic here. It will be Ethan and Pat holding above currently. Both in strong positions, but it looks like Pat's position inside of bathroom has been revealed. Ethan's as well. So they really need to win these gunfights. If both these players drop, it's basically an impossible round for Wildcard, but just like that, it's a synchronized double frag for Wildcard, and now they can just rotate back to site, chill out, and force Fnatic to take the fight to them.
And that's beautiful. Not only did we see Ethan and Pat get to rotate downstairs, but you would have noticed Diesel went to cover their bar push. Now Mentals decided to get very aggressive on the main stairs, see if there's any pressure, but Ethan, very aware of that, he says sit down, and he squishes Mentalist into a bloody pulp. Ethan, control yourself, my friend.
That leaves Aces and Lusty in now a 2v3. Lusty's actually made his way in, but he gets refragged out. That's 2 massive kills for Pat, formerly known as Thumbnail, recently coming across from Kanga Esports. It's 2 for him in this round. Aces again, left to try and clutch it up. I wouldn't put it past him after his efforts in the first round. This one, though, looking quite challenging as he doesn't have that control insight. We're going to see the crouch walk come out though. The default will spot his position, so Wildcard well and truly aware of where he is positioned. He uses the last of his flashes. Can't hit that pre-fire. He does eventually, and he gets the second! Once again, Aces hits a nuts double frag, and now Pat will need to hit 3 of the biggest kills of this season to win this round. He just gets it. Pat edges him out in that gunfight, and Wildcard will take the round. Aces, oh my goodness, he's just putting Wildcard to sleep in these late rounds.
They were 2 insane shots. Each one of those is worthy of a GN, but that's the second time, Wildcard. You have made me have a heart attack. But they brought it back. Emo clutched the very first round that Aces almost 1v3'd, and Pat clutched that one. This is, look, the scoreline might not say it right now, but this is a game that's got my heart pumping.
Just when you think it's over, Aces pulls this out of the bag. What the hell was that flick? And then to have the presence of mind to pre-fire that. What in... Where? Goodness me. Full credit to Pat, though. Again, coming into this team fight recently, that was definitely a pretty high-pressure situation, taking on Fnatic. It is the second time, actually, funnily enough, he is playing against Fnatic in this season because of that roster change. So he's not unfamiliar to taking them on, but I think that this matchup is just a whole nother beast, and he definitely controlled himself well there.
Yeah, that's it. And you know what? Last time he played Fnatic, he actually managed to get a draw when he was playing for Kanga. They drew on one map, and then they got 7-1'd on the other map. So, I mean, that goes to show that little Pat's not scared to play against these big teams. And at the first playday when we saw Wildcard operate with their new lineup, we were concerned. It looks like they hadn't quite enough time to fit in. I'm not sure whether it's a time thing or just a nerves thing. Officials are very different to scrims, but by now it really seems like Pat and Geo have changed and are ready for this.
Wildcard as a whole seem pretty ready for this matchup. 4-1 up at the moment, and this will be their last defensive round of the half, giving themselves a really nice chance to be 5-1 up. And even on a map as defender-sided as this, that will be absolutely massive. Emorin once again will attempt the bandit trick, but it will be foiled, and expecting him to likely rotate back towards Bathroom. He was trapped out a little bit, but that Goyo shield will give him enough protection to get in towards Bathroom. He can chill out and wait for that second hard breach later in the round.
Looks like we're watching a replay there. Plays out the exact same, but Emorin, there was a slightly different Goyo shield you mentioned. You've been moved up from the logistics doorway, but it's taken out nice and early by Tex anyway. I like this from Geo though. Trying to contest heavily on the main stairs, and there's 3 magnet devices as well to protect him. He does get out of there because those magnet devices don't prevent the stun grenades from going off. They just move them, and unfortunately they moved it straight into his line of sight. Now after destroying those magnets using those stun grenades, Magnet himself, as in the player, destroys the shield with his frag grenade, and that forces Tex completely back. And it's really struggling at the moment is Diesel. Getting droned out as well, feeling the pressure. Geo was nearby. Can Diesel find a kill here? Frag grenade comes over, and a player on the main stairs. That's Mentalist, cleans him up. Nice work there from Fnatic to collapse and regain that control. But Emo finds a frag elsewhere. This is still tit for tat.
Feels like every single inch of this map is being contested by either team at the moment, not wanting to give an inch. Don't want to forfeit any of that control. It's so critical and can be exploited by teams of this caliber. Lusty rotates to the balcony. He has the diffuser in hand, so keep an eye on him. Mentalist and Magnet trying to push in from Cash. Ethan in a very precarious position here behind that mattress. He will be taken out. It's now a 4-on-3. A great position for Fnatic. 30 seconds left on the board. Definitely winnable though for Wildcard if Geo can hit some shots here. He knows that there's plays inside a con. He peeks it wide, he gets one. Pat gets one as well, and just like that, Wildcard now have the advantage, and Geo gets 2. What a big round for him. He gets shot in the back of the head eventually by Mentalist. It's a 1-on-2. Emo, Rin, and Pat left with it all to do. Mentalist gets the triple for the round, and Pat once again needs to clutch it up. Mentalist basically forced to dedicate to the plant here. Will he stick it? It looks like he will. Pat unable to deny it. Mentalist, he can't move though. Pat will surely get the kill, but no! Mentalist swings wide. Fnatic get the round. And just like that, Mentalist gets himself into this game.
What was that? End to the round. Fnatic, it looks like gradually they were making progress. Wildcard put up a fight every step of the way, but to polish it off like that, a clutch from Mentalists. And that ends off Fnatic's attacking half with a hard-fought 2 rounds in their column. We'll have to see a very strong set of defenses if Fnatic are to take the full 3 points at the end of this map. We'll have to see 5 defending rounds won by them. Wildcard. Now the challenge is set to them. Let's have a moment to appreciate that clutch. A 1 versus 2. Basically a 1 versus 3 because he'd just gotten a kill prior. And then doesn't make any noise after he gets on the diffuser. Peeks out with the pistol, knows he doesn't have time to switch to his primary and reload it. Excellent work.
My, oh my. I am exhausted. I'm only halfway through this matchup, Dev. This is classic Fnatic and Wildcard. We saw it last season. We've seen it throughout the history of ANZ. These teams going tit for tat and just absolutely taking every single matchup to the very end. And so far, it's looking like this could well be the case. Definitely expecting this to go the full 12 rounds. I would be incredibly surprised if it doesn't. Both these teams just bringing their A game at the moment. Only the smallest of mistakes at the moment, and either team just ready to capitalize upon that. And exactly what we've seen so far.
Now Fnatic switch onto that defensive side. Cash and CCTV, the primary choice. Fnatic bringing a very similar, if not in exactly the same lineup as Fnatic did typically bring. Clubhouse is a very utility-heavy map for the attackers. You don't have a lot of lineup flexibility because of that. You need to bring the Thatcher, you need to bring the Thermite, you need to bring the Hibana. There's just that much breach, and you really need to have... Oh, hello! You need to do that, I guess. Emarin's going to take down Mentalist nice and early. The Cade player, and that's the main CCTV wall opened as well. No, actually, something else was opened. Was that the construction wall? I saw I heard a thermite charge go off. Am I crazy?
Maybe. I don't know. I looked away for half a second, and a lot is going on as Ethan gets magnet. So is it open? I don't think it is. No, it's not.
Main wall's not open. It must have been the construction wall or some other wall that exists somewhere in this. Oh, it's garage wall. I'm such a ditz. It's garage wall.
Well, Diesel, he'll use that opening to drone it out. Wildcard with half the round to find this intel. They need to find 3 players from Fnatic. Hunkered in sight, try and flush them out, or even flash them out. As Tex dodges one of those. Aces, he's playing the top of garage, of key power position on this side. If he dies here, the round will well and truly be opened up for Wildcard as they do a classic Wildcard, don't they, Dev? Just take their time, make sure it's calculated. That was a calculated destruction from below. Tex thinks about reattempting that trick, but he thinks better of it in the end. Rotates back towards Cash alongside Lusty, and now Wildcard only have a minute left.
Significantly though, Tex has taken a lot of damage from that lifeline impact. He's very low, likely to be taken out in 1 bullet from any of the attacker weapons to the chest. And now Wildcard turn their attention to Aces here. A Thatcher grenade used to get rid of those magnet devices. He finds 1, takes it with him, but even though he can find Pat, Ethan will get the trade. That's a pretty good result for Wildcard, especially because they still have that numbers advantage. 25 seconds remaining, 4 versus 2, and almost all the control that they could ask for.
That drone's taken out, depriving some intel here for Wildcard, but most importantly, they have the man advantage to refrag it out late. 10 seconds left now. They need to commit to the plant, but Tex gets 1. That's Geo off the board. He rotates below. Lusty with the C4 in hand as well. Could be massive. The rush coming in from Wildcard, though. They have 3 seconds to try and find this final kill. They will in the end. That's Diesel on to Lusty. Wildcard taking their first attack, Devon. A pretty dominant performance late round there.
I feel like in Wildcard induction school, the Silex and Flox, the coaches, just throw new players into like all right, there's 10 seconds left, 4 versus 2, what do? You send it. Because that's what we know Wildcard for, right? They spend so much time preparing for their execute. And when their executes come in, man, it is messy, but it's so effective. And, well, it took Fnatic 4 attempts before they managed to steal away an attack. And here, Wildcard get it on the first go. This is looking scary if you're a Fnatic player right now. Not only, they're going to actually reattempt Cash straight away. Likely because 2 of their players were picked off right at the start. Mentalist caught off guard downstairs by Imorin, and Magnet elsewhere, not sure where he was playing, got caught off. If we can have Fnatic not lose those 2 players early, perhaps they're going to have a bit more success. They've identified that. That's what they need to change.
Definitely interesting that Fnatic are reattempting this side. If my tracker is correct, we didn't see a site repeated at all there in the very first half, so definite change up there. Fnatic confident that they can bring something new to the table on this round. The stakes, of course, so high. If Wildcard win this round, they secure at least a point in this matchup and have a massive buffer to try and take the win. So definitely a risky decision here from Fnatic, but they're definitely backing themselves into this one. Doesn't look like they're bringing a whole different to the board, so maybe just a bit tighter on that end round, I think.
And I think just being a bit more cautious in the early round and showing that they don't lose 2 players early, probably part of the game for Fnatic. I mean, maybe they had a plan that they didn't fully get to execute because they lost those 2 players so early. Good drone work early on from Pat. Spots out the Bandit Tricker and several other players. Spots out the setup inside of Cash as well. Now, classic textbook CCTV wall counter. Thatcher EMP surely going to come out. There you go. There's a Sophia charge as well. Counter the Bandit Trick. Tex got very close there, but good job from those 3 wildcard players to ensure that wall gets opened up. Very efficient.
Tex was definitely a little bit slower than Imorin in getting off that wall. If Wildcard had someone positioned to the right-hand side of that double wall, potentially he would have been taken out. But either way, he skates away inside of Garage. Now he'll join Aces, his friend in Wamai, trying to hold that entry in towards site. It's going to be up to Wildcard to try and clear those players out. Otherwise, that entry into the main wall will be challenging. We could also potentially see Wildcard rotate, and we will, in towards Con. So it looks like they're trying to take a multi-directional approach here and try and squeeze Fnatic a little bit.
When Fnatic managed to win a cash attack, and it was only once that Fnatic managed to win one of those, they did exactly this. They got the main wall open, they rotated to Con. Now we do have Magnet, that X Factor on the roam, but he doesn't have a C4 playing the Jaeger. He's more of a gunfight kind of player. Rather operator. So he's going to be playing for flanks rather than for C4 Plantinile from below. But we saw a lot of pre-placed drones, and I just saw Diesel was flicking through his drones on the objective and, sorry, below the objective, watching for that flank. There you go. Diesel flicking those drones right now, watching for Magnet. If Magnet tries to go for that flank, and it doesn't look like he will, Wildcard will likely punish him. Magnet really needs to be stacked on the bomb site right now. Fnatic will need all the help they can get.
They do have Tex below with that C4 for that denial, as you mentioned. Magnet trying to cover him. 40 seconds left on the board now. Wildcard are continuing to try and progress through. Con, Pat gets the first kill there, leaving it in a 4-on-5. Mentalist dropped off the board. That's the Kaid taken down. Emo Rin tries to make this pinch even more impactful from the main wall outside of CCTV. Tries to find a pick, but no, he will in the end. No, actually it's Pat. Diesel is well taken down. Wildcard need to try and hit this res, but they don't have much time left. They might not be able to do it. It's looking risky. The flank coming out there from Magnet is deleted by Ethan. A great play there from Wildcard, but they only have 10 seconds left now. Lusty gets a kill as well. That entry towards side is actually denied.
Oh no!
Exclusivity from either team. Emo Rin now left in a 1-on-1. Lusty hits those shots, downs him in the end.
No way!
Wins the round for his team. And Fnatic will just get that round.
And Lusty was the last man standing as well. After all that, I've got to say, Lusty single-handedly held down that cash room, prevented that construction attack. Got so very dire, but finally Fnatic managed to get a defense round. And it looks like the repeat strategy worked. It was close, and I'm not sure close enough to justify the repeat, but now we will see Fnatic head down to Church and Arsenal. teasing out the Jaeger, but in fact bringing the castle. So no Jaeger and no Wamai on the board. Operators that we've seen both utilized, and I expect this is because Fnatic are mostly going to be focused on their roam, their information denial, and the line of sight denial with the castle barricades to enable those rotations. They're not going to be worrying as much about having the utility protected. It's more about just draining utility by having so many castle barricades and so many things for Fnatic to, for Wildcard rather, to do. This castle barricade here on the stairs prevents players, attackers rather, outside near the construction side, peeking in and cutting off that main stairs rotation. As you can see, there are currently 3 Fnatic players on the top floor. Another castle barricade from Mentalist was placed on the construction window on the top floor. So these castle barricades used to prevent lines of sight from the attackers, cutting off the rotations of the defending roamers. Very textbook for this style SSG roam.
SSG, of course, the 6 Invitational Champions in 2020. Fnatic, of course, did attend that event, as did Wildcard. Unfortunately, for Wildcard, it wasn't a very successful campaign, failing to win a series. Fnatic, on the other hand, played exceptionally well. Unfortunately, they did fall short to BDS and TSM. Oh, in the reverse order, TSM then BDS. But I think they've taken a lot from that event. And they're looking really sharp here come the back end of this season. Either way, though, Wildcard are looking very sharp themselves on this map so far. The wall getting opened, exposing Tex inside of CCTV. Even ready to peek, but he's a little bit too late. Tex getting away inside of Cash. A minute down in this round, Dev. And it's just so much pressure. There we go. Tex's rotate completely shut down by Pat. That's what you were talking about earlier. These rotations above, so critical that Pat manages to find that opening.
Smart move from Wildcard. The first thing they did was disable that utility prepared by Fnatic. Get rid of that castle barricade. Use the angle that Fnatic was trying to deny. And now it looks like Fnatic will mostly default back to site. Actually, it's only 2 of them on the bottom floor at the moment. Magnet jumps downstairs, but Aces was the only one other on site. Lusty and Mentalist still abroad somewhere. Looks like Lusty was near Gym upstairs, I think. Running amok. There you go. In Gym right now, and that's going to catch off Geo. A huge blunder from Geo, not watching that angle, not wary of that hatch. Pat goes looking for it, but now this gives a lot of flexibility to Fnatic, and Magnet in particular, who rotated down the main stairs. He can move as he wants now. And there you go, pushes up aggressively, but Ethan shuts him down. At least there's a refrag there from Lusty. A great hole prepped through the floor from Master. And now Wildcard at a bit of a loss. It's a 3 versus 2, and they have numbers advantage, however. And they know one of them's upstairs.
So many of these gunfights ensuing from above. That's another one above the site. That's Pat actually getting the kill there on to Lusty, leaving Aces again in a 1-on-3. We've seen it twice already tonight. Given these clutch scenarios, can he get this one? Just skates away with his life, but he is taken out in the end. Wildcard taking the 9th round. And Dev, I think it was almost easy to forget that the site was downstairs that entire time. Almost all the gunfights took place on the 1st or 2nd floors, making for a really aggressive encounter. And Wildcard just edging out on top, now have match point, the 6-3 lead in their favor, and it's looking pretty good at the moment.
This is a huge opening for Wildcard. We're talking about the team who went to the 6 Invitational and barely won a few rounds, were frustrated with themselves, and they haven't felt like the team that they've wanted to be. They haven't been able to be proud of themselves for the last 9 months. They've been in this slump. They made sweeping roster changes, bringing in 2 somewhat unproven players in Pat and Geo in their debut season in Pro League. And now in their final match, they're taking Fnatic to match point. 6-3, and it looks pretty good for Wildcard to win this, but the job's not over yet, and this is the pattern we saw last season in the matchup between Fnatic and Wildcard. Wildcard gets onto match point, and previously, Fnatic, in both of the matchups in Season 10, were able to edge out draws, even from deficits like this. Never count Fnatic out. This is their opportunity right now to make sure that they retain their #1 position on the standings in the ANZ Pro League. In the final ANZ Pro League, I might add.
It's never over until it's over when you're playing Fnatic, as you mentioned. They have that endurance, they have that experience, and now is the time to let that shine. Wildcard, need to just treat this as another round. Don't look at that scoreboard, don't let it plague your gameplay. Emo in, I think, was getting shot at from spawn there. Either way, he gets away with it. An interesting spawn pick, I think, maybe coming out there from Fnatic. Either way, though, as we move into this round. Wildcard looking like they're going to sweep from CCTV and cash side of the map. Pat with quite an aggressive entry there on the Thatcher inside of Garage. Claymore to cover his flank, and a sensible decision in that. We've seen Magnet, for example, playing quite an aggressive roam. Fnatic as a whole not playing as aggressively as some other teams in ANZ on that roam, but still prevalent nonetheless, and Wildcard need to be mindful of that because they don't have a Nomad or a Gridlock on the board.
Pat does find the opening kill, taking down Lusty. Not sure where that was. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see it, but Pat has Garage control and he's peeking onto Magnet. Shuts him down too. This is 2 kills very early on for Wildcard, setting themselves up so very well for this round. And it's a 1 versus 5 on match point. It's all on Tex.
It's all on the line here. Tex needs to hit 4 more. He can't hit the second, and Wildcard will win round number 10, and in the process, defeat Fnatic on Clubhouse 7-3. James, my goodness, what a matchup that was, and doesn't that just set up for a great 2 maps between these guys? Didn't expect it to be that one-sided, but in the end, Wildcard is edging out on so many of those rounds.
It didn't feel one-sided, to be honest.
Yeah, the scoreline was one-sided. The matches, the rounds themselves were super close. Almost all of them were really close, except the last one, really.
Yeah, and that final result at 7-3, after Wildcard managed to edge away 4 defenses, you'd think that that's pretty standard for Clubhouse, right? That's only